I'd like to call to order the West Covina Planning Commission for Tuesday, December 12th at 7. It comes up if you want to just speak on anything that's not on the agenda. That's just regular oral communications. We will have those right after we start the meeting. But please fill out a card and hand it to one of the staff members. Will you all please stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for a while for a moment of silence to ask for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting, and also for the poor fire victims that are going through a lot right now. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Instruction. The after-school program will be located within an existing 2,393 square foot tenant space. May we hear a staff report, please?
Our planning intern, Renee Aguilar, will be presenting that report.
Good evening, Chairman and fellow commissioners. Tonight I will be presenting conditional use permit number 17-14. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow for the use of a tutoring, language learning, and dance facility located at the South Hills Plaza. The zone for this subject property is zoned as neighborhood commercial. The subject property is surrounded by residential properties from the west, south, and east. This request includes language learning consisting of Spanish and English classes in the morning, followed by in the afternoon for children in age 6 through 13. That would be elementary and middle school. In the after school, followed by dance classes in the evenings. Here's a site plan. The subject property is located right next to the 24-hour fitness. Be right here. Here's a floor plan. So as you can see, there's a dancing room at the top left. Just below that is the study area for the instructional tutoring. The business hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Here's a visual that illustrates the way the schedule will work. So as you can see, the adult classes for language learning consist of 1 instructor and 5 students. There are 3 classes, each being an hour long. We have a 9 a.m., a 10 a.m., and an 11 a.m. Between the hours of 12 and 2:30, there will be a break, and it will pick up for instructional tutoring from 2:30 to 5:30, which includes instructional tutoring for homework of any kinds, including English and math. During that time, there will be 2 instructors and 20 students. During these 3 hours, students are welcome to stay for up to 3 hours. The applicant has indicated that half of the students coming to the facility will take a van pool from the school directly to this instructional facility. Upon 5:30 to 8, there is a break, and we'll pick up from 8 to 10 for the dance classes, where there will be 1 instructor and 5 students. On Saturday, there will be a Chinese language learning for children, where there will be 2 instructors and 20 students. Classes will start at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and pick up again from 2:30 to 5:30. In conclusion, this request is to allow the use of a tutoring, language learning, and dance facility. The findings concluded that the proposed tutoring use is consistent with the neighborhood commercial land use designation, meets zoning code standards, and would not be detrimental to health and safety of the adjacent land uses and residents. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopts resolutions to approve conditional use permit 17-14. That is all for my presentation. Thank you, and the applicant is here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? None? None? Okay. Is the applicant present? Like to come forward? State your name, and please fill out a card before you leave. Is this the one? I couldn't. Is this Michelle? Yes. Oh, okay. I couldn't read your last name. I've got one. Thank you.
Presenting the applicant, Mrs. Howe. The reason we want to bring this educational or tutorial center to the community is because we want to put the community together through learning. So as you can see, we are providing different learning classes such as language class that would include English learning, Mandarin during the Saturdays, and also the Spanish learning class. And for the PM, the afternoon classes, that's for after school. So that's for the kids to learn together. This is more like the tutorial center or the sessions for the kids. And also in the evening classes, we are providing dancing classes. So that can include like more adults or, you know, it's different creativities and varieties for the entire community. And also, as Renee just mentioned, that 50% or over of the students attending the learning session will be provided with the van pool. So,
Thank you. Any questions to the applicant? Commissioner Redholz.
Thank you. Yeah, are all the teachers that are going to be teaching, are they all accredited teachers, or what is their type of
they are
background?
accredited. Right.
They're accredited
So,
teachers
yes.
in their particular fields, I would assume, or?
Some of them are specialized in certain languages, and some other are in math. So depending on you know, how they apply, and then they will be accredited, and then that will be verified.
Okay, and how long is a semester or whatever? You know, what is the duration of the teaching?
It's usually quarterly, but it can be arranged for semesterly. So usually it should last for about 2 months, and then that will be updated when depending on like how many students they receive.
Okay, and at the end of the course, what do they get if they've successfully completed it?
Depending on how the instructor instruct the class, many of them may get some kind of certificate or some kind of reward.
Okay. Now on the Saturday operation, it's 6 hours in duration. This is all, and there's up to 20 students. So all these students are there for 6 hours?
There is a break. There is a lunch break in
Right,
between.
it's a 2.5 hour break. So
Right.
during that 2.5 hours, they take a break, then the same students come back?
Correct.
So do they stay on the premises, or is it up to them, or?
They will be staying there, but then they can have their parents come over and then pick them up, and then depending on their schedule.
Okay. You offer quite a range between dancing and math, and it's the whole, you know, I feel like going there myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, the applicant? Commissioner Jimenez.
How do you pay? Is it per use, or do you have to pay for like a semester in advance?
That's per use.
So if I go for 1 day, I pay the use of the day.
Usually for class, for different classes, that can be per use. However, depending on the size of the class, say for instance, like the dancing class, usually it's more like per use. But if it's more like the tutorial learning center, that will be more like semesterly or quarterly system.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? How do you spell your last name?
My last name?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
no.
it's,
Pardon?
my applicants?
No, your last name.
Oh, Lin, L-I-N.
L-A-N, okay. No other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anybody want to speak in favor of the applicant? No? Okay, anyone want to speak against the applicant? None, okay. I'll close it then to open discussion and open up to commission discussion at this time. Who would like to go? Commissioner Castellanos.
I think this is a great idea. All the findings are met. I think a lot of kids and adults in the community will be able to benefit. So that being said, I have no issues with moving forward with this.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Yeah, I agree with my fellow commissioner. I think it's a good addition to the community and to that center. And if they want donuts, they'll have no problem getting donuts, I tell you.
Is that where you want to go?
That's where I'm going with, right? Yeah.
No concerns here. It's a conditional use permit, no variances. I'm okay with staff's recommendation.
Mr. Hang? I'm okay with that. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good idea also. I think it'd be a welcome addition. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll close it to public testimony and ask for resolution number, please.
The resolution, it's a conditional use permit before you. The resolution number is 17-5930.
Okay, do I have a motion for resolution number 7?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Do I have a second? Have a first and a second? Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Hing? Aye. Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Aye, passes 5-0. Good luck. What? Oh, yeah. This action is final. This appeal to the City Council within 10 days. Jeff? Conditional use permit number 17-15. I wish to recluse myself at this time because of a personal interest at AT&T. It's an AT&T tower, and I'm an AT&T retiree, and I'm also a member of the organization over there. So I will ask Commissioner Jimenez to take over for me, please.
Item number 3 is conditional use permit number 17-15, a categorical exemption for 1227 South Orange Grove Avenue, Hearst Ranch. This is a request for approval of a CUP to allow the installation of an unmanned 50-foot tall wireless telecommunications facility at the subject site. 12 panel antennas are proposed on
October 14th, 2014, the Planning Commission approved conditional use permit number 1404, allowing the construction of an unmanned 50-foot tall wireless facility designed as a historic full water tower. Since receiving Planning Commission approval in 2014, the applicant never pursued the development of the wireless facility. Therefore, the applicant is now requesting that the approval of the conditional use permit for the facility, again designed in the same manner it was proposed in 2014 in the rear yard of Hearst Ranch. 3 sets of 4-panel antennas, 3 sets of 8 remote radio units, and 1 microwave dish will be located at the top within the water tower, and a new equipment area will be constructed on site. The project proposes an 8-foot tall decorative wood fence to surround the equipment cabinets. The new facility will measure 50 feet in height. The Walnut Creek drainage channel separates Hearst Ranch from residential uses to the west. The facility will be in view to residents and persons from Van Horn Avenue, Merced Avenue, and Orange Avenue. Currently, there are several buildings on the site, including a museum and special events building located at the front of the site. A barn and ancillary agricultural buildings are also located in the center and rear area of the site. The proposed water tower and enclosure will be located on the westerly portion of the property directly adjacent to the farmland and existing ancillary containers along the rear property line. Again, this is a site plan. It's provided to you in your agenda packet. Again, this is a proposed area of the facility here. This is the Walnut Creek Wash. Again, this is South Orange, which is the front of Hearst Ranch. AT&T will utilize 400 square feet of the rear area of Hearst Ranch for the new facility. The facility will consist of a cell tower, equipment cabinets, an emergency generator, and GPS antenna. The zoning code requires that antenna support structures be at least 100 feet away from residential uses. The nearest residential property is located approximately 112 feet to the north of the antenna support structure. Again, in those residential uses, you can see are not so much, which is in this here directly north. And here's the facility across the wash. Again, this is just a, and again, this is a 400 square foot area utilized for the cell tower. The facility, again, as indicated, is proposed to be 50 feet in height. The maximum allowed height for the antenna support structure is 60 feet. The applicant is proposing antennas at approximately 43 feet in height, which is center line of the tower. The tower consists of an open 4 cross-braced steel leg design. The tower includes a full riser water pipe, which screen the coax and fiber cable within the pipe. The water tank will be constructed, again, as full wood-shaped fiber reinforced panels and painted red. The steel legs, full water pipe, and roof of the water tank will be painted in autumn sage. Again, this is just the elevation here that was indicated in the plans. Again, this is a photo simulation facing west, which is off of Orange Avenue. Again, you can see the tower, which is here. And this is the vantage point from the Walnut Creek Wash facing south. And this is the vantage point facing east opposite of the wash. In conclusion, the wireless facility is designed, again, as a historic water tower. The location and design of the facility will enhance the subject property since it will complement the existing structures and agricultural uses at the site. The wireless structure is designed, again, as a stealth facility and complies with the 100-foot separation to residential uses. The proposed facility would increase capacity for those customers using AT&T wireless. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution approving the conditional use permit. That concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is present for any further questions.
Thanks for your presentation, Ron. Any questions? Redholz?
Yeah, thank you. Just for clarification, this is the exact same applicant and the exact same plan that was previously approved by the Planning Commission?
That is correct. As far as the applicant is a different applicant.
It's a different applicant?
Different person, I'm sorry. The applicant is the same, but it's a different person that had submitted the application. But
it's an AT&T, it's still AT&T.
Correct,
right.
Yes. But essentially, it's the same plan, same design, same material that was reviewed by the commission in 2014.
Right. So the reason it's in front of us because the bell rang on the entitlement.
The entitlement expired, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Any additional questions? No? Okay. This time we will invite the applicant to come and speak to us a little bit. Alexis Hadley, welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to speak with you. I really don't have too much to add to Mr. Garcia's presentation. We greatly appreciate staff and all of the work that they put forth in getting this project reapproved. AT&T ran out of money a few years ago, so we are back in front of you. But I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from the commission? Commissioner
Now,
Reynolds?
there's an active lease
Correct.
currently there that has been in effect since the previous approval, correct?
Correct.
So that'll just continue on under this? Okay, thank you.
From what you just mentioned, you said AT&T ran out of money. You mean just for this particular project?
For this particular project, 3 years ago, they entered into negotiations with DirecTV, and so the particular budget for this project was cut and then resurrected.
For the buyout?
Correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Any additional questions, Commissioner Hing? Just one question on my end. How do you service these antennas? From the interior, or do you have to remove the exterior?
Typically, just the equipment cabinets are maintained. We will have an individual from our network operations team go out approximately once every 4 to 6 weeks. They will check the equipment cabinets. If there is an upgrade in the antennas, for example, if we move from 4G to 5G, then we will need to get up inside where the antennas are located and swap them out. But at that point, it would come back before Planning Commission based on the conditions of approval if we wanted to make that kind of a change.
Okay. One more question, please.
Yeah, is it possible to accommodate co-location in the future at this?
It would be possible. The way that the tank is designed right now, our antennas are going to be covering a significant portion of the internal water tank. We need a certain amount of vertical separation between other carriers. For example, with Verizon, we need 10 feet of separation. With T-Mobile, it's about 5 feet of separation. So if you did want another carrier to co-locate on this facility, it might be necessary for what we call the FRP, for the material that the antennas are behind, to be extended down further so that it would be completely screened.
Any additional questions? All right, Alexis, we're going to ask you to take a seat, and we may invite you back if we have
Actually, I have a question. If you were to co-location this particular site, is it going up further or going down?
Well, based on what Mr. Garcia said, that it was a 60-foot zone limit, which kind of surprised me. I don't know why we didn't go up to 60 feet.
I'm voting in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Hing?
I actually have some questions for the applicants.
Okay. Do we have to open up the public hearing to allow for that? Okay. We don't need to make a motion. We can just proceed. Okay. So we will reopen the public hearing to invite the applicant back up. Thanks again.
I guess on the map, on this particular attachment, number 2,
Just to be a bit more specific, it's the one in the staff report. I believe it's attachment.
this one right here.
Attachment number 2, co-location study.
So it's really difficult to read this particular map considering the area that it covered. I could barely make out anything. However, on top of it, the title said the project is the gap in coverage for this project is small in area. Can you pinpoint for this particular map where? Yes. Okay.
You can barely see it.
You could barely.
It encompasses, just a portion of the ranch, and then most of the properties around it are residential homes. So we were extremely limited in the properties that would work for this proposal to fill this gap in coverage.
So the gap consists of what you said, just only the ranch area?
Pretty much. The way that cell phones work, it's basically like a honeycomb. And so this map actually also includes the surrounding cell sites. So if you see the numbers, like you see CLU 4241 down in the bottom right-hand corner, that's an existing site. There's another one up on the north corner, CLU 4550. and then one more that is CLU 4247. So the gap in coverage is right around the ranch, but the way that they place these, they're called search rings. The way that they place the search rings is it has to be able to communicate with all of the neighboring sites in order for the network to communicate and propagate a signal to this area. So the search ring that I was given, from AT&T, it needs to be within this search ring in order for it to fill our gap in coverage. Does that answer your question?
So you're saying this particular tower really only covered the ranch?
It will cover anywhere from 1 to 3 miles out. It totally depends on what type of coverage is trying to access that tower, whether you're using data or phone or text, what type of phones people are using. So it's really hard to say like exactly how far out the signal will extend from this tower. But the way that this tower is located has to be able to see and communicate with all of the surrounding towers. And so the only way that it could properly do that is to be located within the search ring that I was provided from AT&T.
I guess in order to get this particular propagation map done, you must have data. And
Exactly.
I don't see the data here for us to ID a particular area. For example, is it 5 residents that we're talking about? Is it 10 residents that we're talking about that is currently having the gap issues?
So yes, exactly what Commissioner Jimenez is looking at right now. You can see these aren't in color, so they're really hard to read.
Yes.
But the green, there should be a map in here. So if you look at the first page, you can
that
see-
particular map, if you look at it on the
Yes.
lower left-hand corner, what does that number read?
So proposed macro site means this, dot right in the middle, and this is before coverage. So I'm not looking at the same colored ones that you are, but I imagine you're seeing a lot of red and yellow on the
No,
map.
I'm just
you're
saying that
looking
that
at?
particular map that you were looking at, I also have the same map as well.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the lower left-hand corner.
Oh, the lower left-hand
What is
corner.
that?
These are signals, different frequencies.
But can you read that for me?
Oh,
What is that?
sure. No, I can't. Does anybody have a cleaner copy? Thank you. Yeah, that one's not great either. I want to say that it says 75 megahertz indoor signal, and that is just a signal that comes off of the antennas. So it's showing you all of the green areas will provide, good indoor coverage in the areas that are
The
covered,
pink area.
colored in green.
That writing, can you read that portion?
So the pink area will be the outdoor signal, and that says 0.98 megahertz, I believe, is what that says. And so that pink area will provide more of an outdoor signal than, the coverage before. So if you turn to the next page, you can see that after the coverage, there's no more yellow or pink areas, more surrounding this entire site. So, all of these yellow areas before the cell site will be filled after the cell site is installed.
Well, I guess I understand that this is a graph that data was inputted in order to generate this graph.
Correct.
Because my question is, where is the data? I wanted to know, and if a resident were to come up and ask, well, what is the gap in this particular area? And what data are being put in here? I'd like to know that. I understand that this is a graph that was generated with the data that's putting in, but in front of us, it's just a graph. I don't have a number saying, okay, this area is being affected, that affected the whole city of 500 people or one resident.
Yeah, well, again,
So-
it's kind of impossible for me to give you an exact number of the number of residents that this would affect. I mean, if we can guess, approximately how many residents are in this area in a given day, that would be the number that would be affected by, the new cell phone tower.
So you don't have a data in front of us to let us know that this particular areas are being affected, and this is how many residents are being affected by this particular graph. I understand your graph. I looked at
Okay.
it. There's green and then there's yellow area. However, in order to generate this graph,
Yes.
we also need data in order to put it in there. So I guess the
cannot-
question is, what is
yeah.
the data?
I cannot tell you exactly how many residents live in this area, but I also don't know how many guests or how many travelers or how many tourists or how many people are constantly going through this area on any
Correct.
given
But
day.
in order to generate this graph, you need the data. You need the data to put it in here so that we can have a graph. So the question comes in is,
These graphs would be generated not only from customer complaints, but they would also be generated from dropped calls, and also just AT&T computers that are constantly propagating signals in certain areas and trying to determine where there is a gap in coverage.
correct, I understand that.
Okay.
I guess my question is, where is the data? We just need to know that. Where is the data to come up with this particular graph? I see the graph, I see
Okay.
the color, but I like to know how many of the color or the residents are being affected.
I don't have an exact number for
I
you.
Okay.
believe Commissioner Castellanos has a question.
So that is a tricky question to answer, and I
Yes.
have asked that same question in the past before. The answer I was given at the time is that that's proprietary data that's inaccessible to the public. But the bigger point that maybe I could help answer the question is we've got the West Covina School District in close proximity, Edgewood, Orangewood, a church next door, the residents to the north on the other side of the creek, as was pointed out. So yes, I think, you know, the constant answer you keep giving is difficult to pinpoint, but Orange Avenue is utilized heavily for everything I just mentioned. So maybe, hopefully that helps answer your question.
And if I may add as well, I do recall a previous discussion this commission had, I believe with the shadow proposal where we discussed the same issue. And I recall some discussion related to proprietary information that may be to a certain degree FCC protected, so it may not necessarily be available for us to use as part of our decision-making process. Second, with the maps, it's my understanding, I always look at this as not necessarily a dead zone, it's more of a gap issue. In other words, there's a need for capacity along this sub-area of your network to power these smart devices. The bandwidth that's typically required for some of these smartphones is intense, I would believe, that requires these larger LTE panels. Thus, really, if one drives by this area with their AT&T phone, the bars may drop, you may drop a call
Yes,
here or
correct.
there. If during the switchback between antennas, if the capacity is not being met within a certain sub-area. So I believe this is more of that issue to add capacity in an area that maybe it's already served. Would that be safe? For
Yeah,
us to-
absolutely. And I apologize, Ms. Heng, if I am misunderstanding your question. You know, the exact data that is put into the computer, yes, it is proprietary. But the way that I'm understanding your question is that you would like to know like exactly how many people will be affected by this new cell site, if I'm understanding correctly. And that is really a question that's impossible to answer. Okay.
One more thing I'll add, if I may.
Sure.
We're not too far from there either, so.
Okay.
You know, if anyone in here has AT&T, they may also benefit from it based on the close proximity. So hope that helps.
Thank you for that. Any additional questions? Going once, going twice? Thank you again for
Thank
coming
you.
up. Okay, I will once again close the public hearing. Commissioner discussion, if there's any new information that we would like to discuss again with the maps. The way I always read these maps, it's about capacity sometimes. In other words, the service is already there. I believe there are FCC requirements as well in place that limit the providers as far as how many drop calls they can have. So usually when I go into these reviews, that's typically what I think of. Is it capacity or are we meeting gap coverage? So that's my position. I think it's also important to note, as you two have mentioned, previous entitlements have been approved that allowed this particular use already. So in essence, we're just reviving that. So I don't have necessarily any concerns at this point.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'll ask for the resolution numbers to be read.
Okay.
Well, I like to add that it is very difficult to make decisions that's based for our community when we don't have the whole full pictures of what we're making. I understand that this was approved in 2014. I guess at the time is what's the difference between then, whether it's the gap, has it changed? Are there any new informations, data that require us to make improvement for this particular area? At this moment and at this evening, we don't have that information. In fact, we don't even know if there's even a drop call because, like you said, it's proprietary information. But yet, I'm sitting here today making decisions not affecting just one particular property or a few particular property. We're affecting a larger area because this particular site does cover a larger area. So I guess the question is, can I make decisions based on information that I don't have? I know I'm looking at, there are informations, but it's the end result. What is the data that's being put in there? I mean, I can understand that if we are being affected by 100 people or 50 people, then we say, yes, the resident do need it. But at this moment in time, we don't have that information. It's basically proprietary information, but yeah, we're sitting here, we're required to make some decisions as well.
Understood. If I'm interpreting correct, Commissioner Hing, would you like to introduce some sort of alternative recommendation to see if there's a possibility if the motion carries?
I'm just, well, I like to see more study being done for this area and how much it's being affected for this community. Not only for, for the area, because we can't approve this particular contract. Once it go in, it doesn't affect just 1 day, 2 days, or a week, or 2 weeks, or a month. It may affect, I don't have the contract in front of me, but we're making decisions that may affect us 10 years from now, 25 years from now, 30 years from now. But at the same time, I'm not comfortable making decisions when I don't have information in front of me to justify why we should have that. I understand that 3 years ago, it was approved. I got that. However, today, what has changed? Did the gap area improve? Or is there a significant gap issues or a capacity gap issues? I don't know that information. On top of that, if you look at the findings, that's A. Is the particular location, is it necessary or desirable? We don't have that information at this moment in time. Also, if you go to G, the facility is designed to blend with an existing supporting structure, and does it substantially alter the character of the structural local area? Okay. Well, that particular area in general is just one story. I don't see a 50-foot structure blending in that particular area. Yes, it is further in from that particular property, and that property is large. However, from the neighbor perspective, you can also see from 3 different sides of the property as well. Another thing is, I also realize that from this particular structure, you guys can also increase another 20 foot, an additional increase, and without having to come, 10?
We're at 50.
But the FCC allowed them to increase 20 without coming to our city. So at the end of the day, we're approving this 20 years down the line or so, and then we'll increase potentially the structure is a 70-foot structure that we're approving today.
It's a very unique structure. I mean, I can see that maybe happening if it's a freestanding facility, but the investment that's been made to actually make a unique design, I just can't see them coming in, making modifications. Commissioner Reynolds?
Mr. Vice Chair, unless Commissioner Hing has an alternative motion or another suggestion, I would suggest to go forward with the reading of the resolution.
And I'll just add, this may be an opportunity to address what Commissioner Hang is discussing with I don't know, by way of maybe a study session, because as I mentioned earlier, I've made the same request before, and maybe we can discuss at a later date, how we go about requesting more information from cell carriers, which is, you make a valid point, although I think at this point in time, as Commissioner Redholz just mentioned, we're kind of past that point. So,
Good point.
thank you.
Okay.
The resolution before you is a conditional use permit, so the resolution number would be 17-5931.
Do we
Mr.
need a
Vice Chair, I'll
motion?
move approval.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Hing?
No, but due to the fact that I don't have enough information to prove this.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Aye.
Vice Chair Jimenez?
Yes.
So passes 3-1.
3-1. This action is final unless appealed to the city council within 10 days. Thank you. I will step out just, well, there's Don. Never mind. Thank you for your patience. Just give us about another minute to reorganize ourselves and we'll be back in business. Thank you.
Call the session back in order. Brings us to item number 4. Before I do that, I don't know if it was said this action is final, it's appealed to
Yeah, it was
City
said.
Council. We did? Okay, fine. Item number 4, variance number 17-09, administrative use permit number 17-32, categorical exemption. Applicant is Riza Nasrolali. Hope I didn't, that's good enough? Okay. Location 1852 East Walnut Creek Parkway. The request for approval of a variance to deviate from the required front yard setback of 25 feet to 18 feet 2 inches. The proposed front yard setbacks will allow for a garage addition on the front elevation. Additionally, the applicant is requesting an administrative use permit to legalize a 595 square foot accessory habitable quarter located at the rear of the existing single-family residence. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, our Assistant Planner, Christine Delestrinos, will be presenting that report.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. Tonight, I will be presenting to you the applicant's entitlement request for variance number 17-09, administrative use permit number 17-32, and subcommittee design review number 17-67 for the subject property of 1852 East Walnut Creek Parkway. The applicant is requesting the approval of a variance to deviate from the required front yard setback. The proposed front yard setback will allow for a garage addition along the front of the house. Additionally, the applicant is requesting the approval of an administrative use permit to convert an existing 595 square foot recreation room to an accessory habitable quarter located at the rear of the existing single-family residence. The subject property is located in a single-family residential R1 zone in Area District 1. The site is surrounded by single-family homes and is directly adjacent to the Walnut Creek Wash. The site is 10,930 square feet in lot size and is rectangular in shape with street frontage along the Walnut Creek Parkway. There is an existing 1,967 square foot single-family residence with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, kitchen, living room, and a 1-car garage. Additionally, there is an existing detached 595 square foot recreation room located at the rear of the subject property that was permitted in June 27, 1972. Notices of public hearing have been mailed to 56 owners and occupants of the properties located within 300 feet of the subject site. Only one call was received during the 10-day public notice period. The call was in concern of the use of the proposed accessory habitable quarter and the encroachment of the required front yard setback, leading to more parking issues. Staff welcome the member of the community to attend tonight's meeting and to submit a formal email of concern. However, no emails were received, and I'm unsure if she's here today. Oh, and she is present. The project consists of a request for the approval of a variance to deviate from the required front yard setback to allow the conversion of a one-car garage to a two-car garage. Additionally, the applicant is requesting an administrative use permit to convert an existing recreational structure to an accessory habitable quarter. The subject property is located north of the existing Walnut Creek Wash, and I think I've said that. So the project is also categorically exempt under CEQA, since the project consists of the construction of an existing single-family residence on an existing property. The municipal code establishes a minimum setback for the front yard, side yard, and rear yard for lots in an R1 zone in Area District 1. The minimum setbacks required for the subject property is 25 feet for the front yard, 5 feet for the rear yard and side yard. The existing single-family residence is currently legal non-conforming as it maintains an existing 18-foot, 2-inch front yard setback. The side yard setback along the northern property line is 7 feet 6 inches. The side yard setback for the west property line is 7 feet 9 inches, and the rear yard setback is a little more than 108 feet. The applicant is proposing to expand the existing one-car garage in order to allow for a two-car garage. The proposed addition to the garage will be consistent with the existing front yard setback of 18 feet 2 inches. The applicant is therefore requesting the variance for the front yard. Staff conducted a survey of 13 lots within the vicinity of the subject property. The survey includes homes on Walnut Creek Parkway, Walnut Creek Court, and Holly Oak Drive. Lot sizes in the area range from 7,161 square feet to 12,206 square feet, with lot depths that range from 109 feet to 157 feet, and lot widths of 46 feet to 89 feet. The majority of the houses encroach into the required front yard setback that is required today in today's municipal code. The setbacks range from 10 feet to 26 feet, with the average front yard setback of being 17 feet. The following chart shows the mean of the lot size, lot width, and lot depth and front yard setback. The mean is the average of all 13 homes. The mean lot size of the homes is 8,966 square feet, whereas the lot ranges from 13,351 square feet to 639 square feet, with the lot size of the subject property being 10,930 square feet. The charts indicate that there is a wide variation in the lot sizes, widths, depths, and front yard setbacks in the area. The chart also indicates that the average front yard setback is 17 feet, which illustrates that the proposed 18-foot, 2-inch proposed setback is consistent with the neighboring properties. Therefore, there are extraordinary circumstances based on the shape, lot size, and lots in the vicinity that have a similar front yard setback as the subject property. The municipal code requires an administrative use permit for an accessory habitable quarter and subcommittee design review. An accessory habitable quarter shall be located to the rear of the primary residence with a minimum 25-foot building separation and rear yard setback, and a minimum side yard setback of 10 feet. The HQ shall be a minimum of 640 square feet and shall consist of a bathroom, living area, and one bedroom. Additionally, it is required that there be a dedicated covered parking space for the accessory habitable quarter. The accessory habitable quarter must be architecturally consistent with the primary residence. Therefore, the applicant is proposing to convert the existing recreational structure located at the rear of the subject property to an accessory habitable quarter. The proposed accessory habitable quarter is 595 square feet and is 26 feet 7 inches setback from the primary residence, 57 feet 7 inches from the rear yard property line, 10 feet from the northern side yard property line, and 8 inches from the west side property line. The HQ consists of a bedroom and a full bathroom. The HQ will be 15 feet in height and 8 inches, and will have a hip-style roof pitch that is consistent with the primary residence. The proposed AHQ will include windows on the south, west, and north elevation of the structure. The east elevation will incorporate sliding doors, which will lead to a 260-square-foot attached covered patio. The AHQ will be consistent in architectural style and detail with the primary residence, which includes the matching stucco and matching brick siding. The required parking space for the proposed AHQ will be provided by the addition to the existing single-car garage. Therefore, the proposed accessory habitable quarter complies with all development standards under the municipal code. So here is the site plan. You see that the garage addition will be right here, and the existing recreational room is located to the rear of the house. Here's the existing floor plan of the primary house and the recreational room. So they will be removing these partitions in order for it to comply with today's AHQ standards. And so here's the addition. And this is the front elevation of the primary house and the accessory habitable quarter. In conclusion, the applicant is requesting the approval of a variance to deviate from the required front yard setback of 25 feet to 18 feet 2 inches. The proposed front yard setback will allow for a 166-square-foot garage addition on the front elevation to create a 410-square-foot two-car garage. Additionally, the applicant is requesting an administrative use permit to convert an existing 595-square-foot recreational structure to an accessory habitable quarter located at the rear of the existing single-family residence. The proposed project meets or exceeds development standards with the exception of the required front yard setback. The proposed modifications will be consistent and similar in nature to the homes in the neighborhood. And again, with the approval of the variance, it would allow the construction of the covered parking space requirement for an AHQ. So the variance technically allows the AHQ to be, approved. Staff therefore recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolutions approving variance number 17-09, administrative use permit number 17-32, and subcommittee design review number 17-67, subject to the following conditions that are included before you in the staff report. I am here if you have any questions, and I believe the homeowner as well as the applicant is here for any questions as well. Thank you.
Do we have any questions of staff? Commissioner Redholz.
Yeah, just for clarification, if that was to maintain as a single-car garage, then the AHQ couldn't go forward, correct?
Correct.
So they're required to have a garage for
Yes,
that?
so that is why the applicant is requesting the variance so that they could meet that parking requirement for the AHQ. So say the variance doesn't get approved, then the AHQ can't be approved.
Anyone else? No? 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 Okay, if there's no more questions, I'll open up the public testimony. Would the applicant like to come forward, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Reza Nasrullahi. I'm here for any questions. And architect Jonathan also is here.
Good evening.
Like to say before?
But I'd like to get on this project. Been actually doing a remodeling to making sure that property looks decent. I have had tenants before that they did not take care of the property in the past. I want to make sure that the property is maintained, and also I want to do the right thing. So if the garage is needed because of the parking necessity, I'm willing to go through the expenses and to make sure that the garage is built. And I just want to do the right thing, whatever the staff is recommended. We've been going through the staff to make sure that everything meet the codes. And at this point, I'd like to get the approval of the commissioners.
Do we have any questions of the applicant? Commissioner Manis?
You're the property owner?
Yes,
Are you going to live in this house?
not particularly myself. I do have a son that is graduating from the CSUN University, and this is an investment for my son. So he'll be moving in that property. So.
Okay, go Matadors.
Anyone else? Questions? The applicant? No? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak in favor of the project? I have one card here, somebody in opposition of the project. Would you like to come up? Ms. Sanchez, please.
Hello, sir. Yeah, my name is Dolores Sanchez, and I am the neighbor directly to the left of the property. I had many problems with the property before all this is coming about. I guess it's here nor there at this point. I got the notice, and they asked me if I wanted to challenge the action, and I do. And the reason I want to challenge the action is, first of all, I know you're all aware of all the streets in West Covina, okay? Walnut Creek Parkway from Hollister to Azusa is one of the most densely populated streets in West Covina. If you drive down the street from Azusa to Hollenbeck, you will see cars on either side. Cars on either side, all kinds of cars on either side, in the middle of the day, in the morning, okay? At 5 o'clock, then the whole street gets full of cars. My concern is the parking, okay? There's a lot of traffic that goes down Walnut Creek Parkway from the freeway. They get off the freeway and they want to go to Citrus, so they take Walnut Creek Parkway. Now, this portion of Walnut Creek Parkway is very narrow. So when you drive down to get to Citrus, you've got cars on either side, all the way down, up and down, up and down, okay? My concern, because I am the next door neighbor, so it only affects me. Okay, first of all, what they're proposing is to make the one-car garage, which is a small garage, I have a small garage, into a two-car garage. Well, if you make that into a two-car garage, right now there's an existing window there, and I think that's kind of dumb. I don't know how, I guess they're going to close that window and extend the garage, because right now there's a window there, so then I guess they're going to close that window and just have the door and then a window on the other side. Okay, so they want to extend the garage. My concern is the parking, because there's always a concern in the parking. When I get home, I have arthritis, and I have a handicap placard. And I've been there for 10 years, and I'm always used to coming home, can park my car on the street in front of my house. Okay, I do have a driveway, but my driveway is kind of on a tilt. So it's difficult for me to get off my car in the driveway. So my grandson parks in the driveway, I park on the street so that I can walk off and get into the house. Now, if this happens, then we're gonna have the front house, like the gentleman said, he's not gonna live there. He's probably gonna use this as a rental property, okay? So in the front house, we're gonna have 2 to 3 cars in the front house, and then in the back house, we're gonna have another 2 cars, or who knows, 2 to 3 cars. So now we've got 2, 3, at least 5 more cars, okay? So where are they gonna park? They're gonna park in front of my house. And the people already across the street park in front of his house, because there's so many people parking on the other side of the street. So my concern is the parking. They're gonna have a bunch of cars there. When I come home, I'm not gonna be able to park in front of my house. I'm gonna have to look for parking. I'm gonna have to walk in front of his house and in front of the next house in order for me to find a parking spot, because I am used to parking on the street. I do not use the driveway because my driveway is on a slope. If I want to fix that, it's going to cost me a lot of money to make my driveway level so that I can get off the car. So, so I'm going to have a rental there, the rental property in the front, a rental property in the back, to who knows how many people, to know who knows how many cars that are going to be parking right there alongside in front of my property. And that's my concern. I could tell you about the problems I've had prior to this, but they're horrible. With the people that were there, with the other gentleman that was there, that was a friend of Mr. Reza's. And that's my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, Miss, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Where do you park your car?
On the street.
You don't park in your garage?
No, no.
Why not?
No, because I have to walk, I have to open the garage door, because it's hard for me to open the garage doors and park my car inside. On the driveway, it's on a slant.
Okay, so you don't park your car in your own garage?
No, I park it on the street, yeah, because of my arthritis.
Okay.
I have a handicap placard, and every year my
Okay.
arthritis.
My other question is, if they're doubling the size of their garage to accommodate not one car but two cars, doesn't that take a car off the street? If they are now able to park two cars instead of one, doesn't that take a car off the street?
Well, if they're going to put, if there's only two cars in that house, but if there's three cars in that house.
Well, you're making an assumption that you've
Well, if you
gone up
go-
to five cars, and that's just a number out of the air, but
If you
anyway.
go up and down Walnut Creek on that street, everybody has no less than 2 to 3 cars. And then we're going to have the cars in the back.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Castellano?
Thank you. So you're saying you don't have like an automatic garage door, is that what you're saying? That's why you have to get out? Okay,
I have to open doors. No.
okay. All right. So it doesn't open up like a standard garage?
No. I have the old
French
wooden
doors.
doors. I have to open one door, and I have to open the other door.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Anyone else? None? Okay. Anyone else against the project? Would you like to come up and rebut her statements?
I definitely want to be a good neighbor, so actually I did go and knock on her door and wanted to make sure the construction that we're doing is not going to be causing any issues and problems for her. And at this time, definitely the only reason that garage being built to make sure if there is additional car, it would be parked in the garage. So I would definitely would be open in the future if she has any issues or problems. My phone or my door would be open to talk to her if there is any problems. Other than that, I would not guess how many cars is going to be there. Possibly not more than 2, maximum 3. But that's what's going on around the neighborhood. Everybody has additional cars that they park it on the streets.
Is the current occupant, are they still in?
No, they're no longer there.
So it's empty right now?
Yes, and
Okay.
we are doing construction actually.
And I understand you said your son's going to move in there
My son would be moving there in the future.
with his family or
No, he's not married.
just himself?
Right, just
Okay,
himself.
thank you. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
I have a question.
Question, Riddle?
Your son's going to live in the main house, so is it your intent to rent the other?
I cannot rent the other one. I mean, that's not rentable.
Oh,
That's
right.
only, we're going to be used for either additional bedroom for whoever that's living in the front house. So
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
Any other question? Sorry. Any other question? Thanks.
Ms. Sanchez, would you like to, does that help out any? I know.
My concern it's going to be a rental unit in the back, and he says it's not, okay, then that's fine with me, as long as not, the unit in the back is not going to be rented, and they're going to occupy the house, then that's fine. That was my concern. That was my concern, the fact that if you rent the unit in the back, because the other people were renting the unit in the back, but if you don't rent it there, the unit in the back, then, you know, you won't have all the extra cars. And that's my concern.
Okay, well, it seems to me that his son is going to be the one that's living there, and he's going to put an additional garage, so that should help with the parking.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That'll be great.
Thank
That'll
you.
be fine. Thank you.
Close it to public testimony and open it up to commission discussion.
Perhaps I could add just a little bit of clarification onto this. You know, it's always these are always confusing because we have it, and we've had an alphabet soup of name changes over the past few years. So we have accessory dwelling units, which used to be called second units, which allow a kitchen and can be rented out. There's a covenant that says the owner must live on the property on that one. This is an AHQ, which used to be called, what was it? Before, we have another name. Anyway, ALQ, I think, and then it was a guest house before that. This is a detached room. It's not a separate unit. It doesn't have a kitchen facility. It has a bathroom, so it's a room with a bathroom. So it's a detached room. And in that sense, it can't be rented. There's a deed restriction that's required by the code. And I would suggest that a condition be added that the deed restriction on the administrative use permit resolution, that the deed restriction be recorded as required by section 26-391.5 of the municipal code, which spells out what's supposed to be in that deed restriction. And it clearly states, and it's on the property. So if Reza sells the property, then the new owner will still be on there, and it'll show up in his title. So it doesn't disappear just because Reza sells it. It's still going to stay there. So that's important to note too. That's the purpose for a deed restriction, because it runs with the property. And every property owner will be informed that they're not allowed to rent that out separately from the house. So hopefully that adds a measure of clarification.
Any other questions? Okay. Commission discussion? Commissioner Reynolds?
Yeah, thank you. Well, there's definitely a need for the variance. I think that's been shown by staff survey, and you know, all the other homes in the area, they don't meet the current 25 feet either. So I think the variance is there, and I think listening to what the applicant said, and with the individual who came here to speak in opposition, apparently her concerns have been mitigated. So I see no reason to not move forward.
Thank you. Castellanos?
Yeah, I think, well, I'll echo what Commissioner Redholt said, and I'll add that any upgrade to this neighborhood, I think, is a welcome one. The homes there on that street are over 60 years old, and I'm very familiar with the area. I've driven through it plenty of times, known people that live there, and I've always been happy about any kind of upgrades that I see around there. So I'd like to thank you for being willing to do that. As far as, well, I think regarding the parking, in addition, a second two-car garage will help. And hopefully the neighbor can, you know, as a side note, I hope you could maybe find a way to automate your garage door. It sounds like that would help your lifestyle. And with a concern about the renting the unit being mitigated, I'm sure you'll keep an eye on that. And it sounds like you're satisfied with that. So, and with the staff report, everything that was said, I see no reason to not move forward. So I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Commissioner Jimenez?
I guess just from my chair to add to the administrative record, I, you know, sometimes think about variances and the whole unique or extraordinary condition that we have to make. And in this particular case, I think, you know, which is the lesser of the two evils? Is it one, to provide a deviation to allow you to provide parking, or is it best to ask for a variance to just deviate from the off-street parking requirement? In this case, based on the testimony, even in opposition, I think it supports why we have to approve the variance this evening. Also, you're dealing with a pre-existing condition. You have pre-existing setbacks. So the strict applicability of the zoning code itself presents a unique situation, in my opinion. The street itself is not very rectilinear. It's not traditional subdivision. It takes advantage of pretty much what I assume were contours at the time when the track was laid down. So I think it meets the minimum to justify the variance, and at least from my chair, we'll be in support of the variance request. Thank you.
Commissioner Hang? Nothing? Okay. I echo my fellow commissioners. Seems like it's going to mitigate with the additional garage space. The applicant seems to be very cooperative and has opened his door to you if you have any problems, and it's going to be his son living there, so if you do have any problems, it seems like he'll step up and take care of that. And being handicapped, and you're saying that your driveway is on a slant, I would certainly, if I were you, I don't know what your financial status is, but look into maybe getting an automatic garage door opener where you can get into the garage and make it safer for you getting in and out of the car, because it's not that expensive anymore. They have some very reasonable fixes for that they can change those doors to an overhead with an automatic garage door opener, and that'll help you with parking and help you with getting in and out of the car. So saying that, I'm in favor of the variance also at this point in time. So could we have resolution numbers, please?
Yes, so we have a variance, which would be Resolution 17-5932, and we also have an administrative use permit, which would be Resolution 17-5933.
And also, I didn't catch the number of that one that you wanted to add in there.
That would be added to the administrative use permit resolution, and that would be, I haven't got it exactly worded, but require a deed restriction to be recorded as required by the West Covina Municipal Code, Section 26-391.5.
Okay, can we do all that in one motion?
You can make the motion and just say yes.
Okay.
We'd like to add that condition.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion with the deed restriction Jeff just mentioned.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Hing? Aye. Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Aye, passes 5-0. This action is final unless appealed to City Council within 10 days. Thank you very much. Takes us to item number 5, conditional use permit, number 17-18, planning director's modification, number 17-34, administrative review, number 17-02, administrative use permit, number 17-41, categorical exemption. The applicant is Adrian Amosa for Gaucho Grill, location 1129 West Covina Parkway. The request for approval of a conditional use permit to allow live entertainment within a proposed restaurant, a planning director's modification to remodel a facade of the building, and administrative review to allow for outdoor seating, and an administrative use permit to allow for roof signs. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, our Associate Planner, Veronica Hernandez, will be presenting this report.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Commission. Again, the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for live entertainment, planning director's modification to remodel the facade of the 3,140 square foot restaurant, an administrative review to allow for outdoor seating, and administrative use permit for a roof sign. No additions are proposed to the existing building. Project site is located in the urban center zone within the downtown plan. The subject property is located south of Plaza West Covina, adjacent to the El Pescador restaurant. The table on the screen, as well as in your staff report, indicates the surrounding zoning and uses. Pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, the proposed project is considered to be categorically exempt and that it will occupy an existing building. The existing 3,140 square foot restaurant was constructed in 1974. The restaurant was formerly operated by Silver Dragon and is currently closed. Proposed business will be called Gaucho Grill Argentinian Steakhouse. The full-service restaurant will serve Argentinian cuisine with a focus on grilled meats. Beer, wine, and spirits will also be served on the premises, and there was an administrative use permit number 17-29. which was approved on September 21st, 2017, to allow the sale of beer, wine, and spirits in conjunction with the restaurant. Outdoor seating is also proposed in an existing 1,216 square foot patio, and I'll discuss that a bit more later in the staff report. The restaurant will operate 7 days a week between the hours of 11 a.m. and 12 a.m. and will employ between 65 to 75 full and part-time employees. The municipal code requires a parking rate of 1 space per 2.5 fixed seats within the restaurant, 1 space per 40 square feet of gross floor area not occupied by fixed seats, and 1 space per 5 fixed seats within the outdoor seating area. The existing restaurant requires 30 spaces and has no outdoor seating. The applicant is proposing a total of 96 seats within the restaurant and 32 fixed seats in the outdoor seating area. They're therefore required to provide 28 parking spaces for the indoor seating, 7 spaces for the outdoor seating area, and 26 spaces for the gross floor area not occupied by seats, for a total of 61 required parking spaces. The parking field around the tenant space currently provides 76 parking spaces, including 2 handicap spaces. The parking field is reciprocal and can also be used by El Pescador Restaurant and the office building located to the west. The restaurant is also located near the Plaza West Covina shopping mall and parking structure, which has excess parking spaces. The applicant is proposing a live entertainment featuring duo and trio live bands, which requires the approval of a conditional use permit. The applicant indicated the bands will use primarily string instruments and soft vocals with Latin flair. The applicant is also proposing occasional DJ programmed evenings. Live music would be featured Thursday through Saturday evenings from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. The stage would be located in the center of the restaurant. So as you can see on your screen there, it's the red portion. This is the full floor plan with the red portion highlighted. They're going to basically take out a table and put the stage there. No dancing is proposed. The applicant has indicated noise levels will be contained by closing the adjacent patio doors and that they are working with their acoustic team to direct sound away from the street and adjacent properties. Staff has included a condition of approval that the doors be shut when there is live entertainment. The subject property is surrounded by commercial uses, including the Plaza West Covina and the West Covina Parkway Plaza's shopping center. Residential uses are located across West Covina Parkway and the Walnut Creek Wash to the south. The nearest residential property is located approximately 182 feet to the south of the subject property. Staff did receive 1 call regarding the live entertainment. The gentleman was under the impression that live entertainment would be offered on the patio. So once I clarified that it was only inside the restaurant, he had no further concerns. The applicant is also proposing facade renovations, including new paint, new alternative materials, an updated outdoor seating area, and a new mural. The proposed modifications require the approval of a planning director's modification. The building will feature a combination roof with an entry feature on the front west side of the building. The remodeled exterior will feature wood panels, wood-framed windows and folding doors, wood planks along the roof, and stone veneer wainscoting. The outdoor seating area will feature a 3-foot stone wall with glass screen protection up to 5 feet in height. An enclosed outdoor barbecue area, including painted black brick features, is also proposed. The applicant will need approval from the LA County Health Department in order to operate the outdoor barbecue. If approval is not obtained, the applicant will work with staff to revise the design to accommodate additional outdoor seating. Finally, the outdoor seating area will feature a mural with a bull on the south wall of the building. You can kind of see it there. The revised facade will include painting the building in a West Highland white color with dark mahogany wood accents, a natural zinc or gray metal roof, and stone veneer in a haystack or beige color. Those are the colors and materials for the restaurant itself, and then for the outdoor seating area, including more of that bull. In summary, the revised facade will add color and detail, as well as create visual interest at the pedestrian level. Applicant is proposing 32 seats within an enclosed outdoor seating area located to the south side of the building adjacent to Walnut Creek Parkway, or West Covina Parkway, sorry. Additionally, 6 seats will be located at the outdoor barbecue area. Outdoor seating requires the approval of an administrative review. There's the outdoor seating layout as well as some potential seating fixtures. Applicant is proposing rooftop signage on the front west entrance of the restaurant. The proposed sign is defined as a roof sign as the roof is a mansard roof and the sign will be installed upon the mansard. A roof sign requires the approval of an administrative use permit, and that's the top sign on that slide right there. The roof sign would face a parking lot and would be approximately 100.67 square feet in size with a maximum height of 4 feet 1 inch, including the logo. The municipal code allows one rooftop sign along the primary frontage with the approval of an administrative use permit for a sign exception review. The roof sign may have a maximum area of 1/2 the total allowable sign area. This building has a frontage of approximately 80 feet, and the code therefore allows a roof sign of up to 120 square feet in size. The proposed sign, which is again approximately 100 square feet in size, therefore meets the requirements of the zoning code. The applicant is also proposing a secondary eyebrow sign along the south side facing West Covina Parkway. This sign would be approximately 32.5 square feet in size. The sign will be mounted on a wood panel parapet that will also serve to screen mechanical equipment. The municipal code does not have specific standards for eyebrow signs, but has typically processed them under the standards for wall signs, which allow 3 square feet per linear foot of frontage. The south side of the building has a frontage of about 51 feet. This sign, therefore, is in compliance with the municipal code. Additionally, the applicant will be required to submit full plans for a sign permit, including sign dimensions, details, and specifications, as a condition of approval. The required findings for a conditional use permit and administrative use permit have been made and are included in your staff report. We've also included conditions of approval for the planning director's modification and the administrative review. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolutions approving conditional use permit number 17-18 and administrative use permit number 17-41. Staff also recommends approval of administrative review number 17-02 and planning director's modification number 17-34 with the conditions of approval listed in the staff report. That concludes staff's presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also present. Thank you.
Just so I'm clear on the signs, the one on the south side of the building, that's going to go where the Silver Dragon sign was now, that's kind of recessed in the roof?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and then the new one will be on the west side, right? That's the picture of that one, okay. Also, I think it was mentioned that when the entertainment is on, the doors would be shut. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There won't be any speakers outside?
I don't believe so, but you want to double check that with the applicant.
Yeah, because that wouldn't be, I need to know that.
Right.
And then the other question I have, is I think you said there were 2 handicap stalls. Does that meet requirements?
Yes, it was reviewed by the building department for ADA compliance.
2 is enough, huh? Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Anybody else? No? 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 Okay. Would the applicant like to come up, speak? Mr. Adrian Amosa?
I'm actually Kirk Cartosian, partner to Adrian Amosa. We have with us as well Joey Nunez with SMS Architects, so the two of us are here to answer any questions you may have. We're very excited about the consideration this evening, and if you have any questions, we can answer them about who we are.
How about the speakers on the outside?
There will be no speakers outside. It is actually a small portable AV unit that is just basically like a wireless karaoke machine, I would say is what it is. And it's very small, compact. There's not even going to be anything that is going to be projecting very far.
Okay, so that's the one that's an inside.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, thank you. Any other questions of the applicant? Commissioner Reynolds.
Yeah, I have a question. Talk to me about the lighting of the building. Are you going to light that building up somehow? So, it's pretty dark there. So, is going to be some illumination of the building itself?
Yes, there is. We have proposed about, I believe it is 4
Can you speak into the microphone?
We have 4 lights on post for the exterior where the patio is. And then we are proposing sconces on every one of the outriggers that are there. So you're looking at about adding at least 6 lights in the front and 4 on east side, which would be, I guess, the frontage elevation, including some on the wall. And then we have downlights where the bull is, so that will light up the bull area right there. And then we will have the signage lit up as well.
And the west elevation to light up the parking lot, the surface lot to the west.
Parking lot will be illuminated
From the building.
from the, okay,
Yes.
I got you.
If we can work with Starwood to do some enhancements to the lighting that they own and control
Right.
as part of the CCNRs of the shopping plaza, we'll work to do that too, because it is pretty dark.
Right, and you guys bought the restaurant property.
Correct. We purchased the real estate earlier this year. We are also have the previous ownership has become a partner, investor in our operation as well.
really?
So we found a kinship together and a way to really honor what's always been there has been a restaurant with some considerable energy. There is going to be a significant investment of upwards of $1 million into the asset in addition to just the acquisition price. So it's a significant project. It will look significantly different inside and out, but we think it's a fair one.
And there's currently one other Gaucho Grill in Downey, or are there more?
Right, so I'm going to give you the short history.
Okay.
Gaucho Grill, at one point there were 15 different locations throughout Southern California. It started in the 1980s. In the downturn of the market in 2008, my business partner, Adrian, who couldn't be here tonight, but we operate these together, acquired all right and title from the fellow who originated it. We met a few years ago and decided to launch a new, more modern version of the Argentine Steakhouse. So there are some, not 15, but there are some still that are the traditional model that he continues to own and operate. And as you indicated, we have Downey together and West Covina, but will be just the second of this new modern concept. Over the last 12 months, or actually in the first 12 months of our operation, we did over $1,000 a foot in sales, over $3 million in our first calendar year.
So in your executive summary, you talk about he owns 6 other restaurants. Are those the ones you're referring to, the ones that are outside of your partnership?
There is Gaucho Grill, Long Beach, but there also there's a Woodland Hills location, there's a Brentwood location, and then there are 3 other non-Gaucho Grill restaurants that Adrian operates in the city of Long Beach.
Can you tell me a little bit about that Asado Grill, how that operates, the outside grill?
Right, so I don't know if there's a picture in the staff report or not.
There is a picture of the,
In the business plan.
In the business plan, so I
Yeah.
think it's in the very back.
Yeah.
The asado is the outdoor cooking mechanism that is very famous in Argentina. It's a style that really becomes the highlight of cuisine. So it's outdoor cooking, outdoor barbecuing within confined space, and it really is a way to really get a lot of meat on a grill without it being and really having that be the focus almost essentially. There's a lot of prep and all that would be done all in the kitchen confines, but Argentina, for better or worse, is a country that eats a lot of meat, and that's really a compliment to that.
so patrons would be sitting around that?
So our plan, depending on the health department, and Ms. Hernandez alluded to it, we're still working through what the health department will allow. There are some requirements that the city has, some of which are even stricter than the health department, but then there are some elements that the health department has that may or may not work with city code. So we're working through that, but yes, the plan would be to have it showcase outside, to potentially have people sitting up, but that's an issue that might not be allowed by the health department. So we hope to resolve that within the next week or so.
And that would be visible from traffic going on West Covina Parkway?
Yes, it would.
Be a nice amenity.
Yes.
We think so.
We're hoping that it will draw a crowd in, being able to see the barbecue and kind of like, oh, what's that outside?
Right.
And then come into the center, not only to see Gaucho Grill, but to potentially anything else in the center as well.
The south side of the mall is a little slower. It's A lot of new restaurants have come more recently, like Jen and El Pescador. As you know, Porto's is coming soon. So there's going to be a lot of energy there, but it's still kind of the forgotten side of the mall, if you will. Doesn't have that freeway visibility, but we still think it's going to be great, especially as a neighborhood commercial restaurant.
Do you have a target date when you hope to be open?
Our target is summer 2018.
Okay, thank you. Any other
We
questions?
plan to have building permits issued in January and to have a 6-month construction cycle.
Okay. Commissioner Jimenez?
The property, or that segment of the property, has a little bit of a deferred maintenance on the landscape. I take it any improvements that are proposed under your TI will include some analysis of the landscape?
We have a landscape plan.
Yes, we do.
So that it will encompass all of that as well, at
Would
least
it-
the part that we have control of.
Would it be to rehabilitate or just come back with a new palette?
I think it's going to be more to new palette with a lot of drought-tolerant, drought-resistant plants.
Okay, thank you.
Would you do me a favor and fill out a card so we have your name for
Absolutely.
the record? I'd appreciate it. Any other questions? The applicant? No?
Thank you for your
sir.
time. You want me to hand it to you now, or?
Yeah, you can hand it to the later, yeah. Anyone else want to speak in favor of the project? Anyone want to speak against the project? 4? Okay, please come up. Please fill out a card before you leave.
Will do.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman and fellow Planning Commissioners. My name is Karen Coe, and I am with the Community and Economic Development Division of the City Manager's Office. The city is pleased to welcome Gaucho Grill Argentinian Steakhouse, West Covina's first steakhouse. The restaurant will be a great addition to our local businesses, adding a new dining experience for our residents. In February of this year, the city implemented the West Covina Business Assistance Loan Program, a program designed to provide financial assistance to our businesses and help to create jobs. In April, the City Council awarded Gaucho Grill with the first business assistance loan, and staff has since been providing assistance to open the restaurant. The city is excited to welcome Gaucho Grill Argentinian Steakhouse and hope that you approve or support the project tonight. Thank you, Chairman and fellow Planning Commissioners.
Thank you very much. You, Commissioner Jimenez?
Hopefully there's no representatives from Sizzler in the house. I think that's our first steakhouse, so just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out.
It's a healthy debate.
It's open for interpretation, but just want to throw that out there.
Anyone else want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak against the project? If not, I'll close it to public testimony and open up to commission discussion. Who'd like to go first? Nobody. Commissioner Jimenez.
This is great. Again, it is maybe the first true steakhouse, but I'm glad to see, I guess the word is activation on that back side of the mall. It's been somewhat of a doldrum. It's been pretty quiet, passed by traffic, obviously. It's nice to see some level of activity coming from the backside there. So, we welcome you. I'm looking forward to when you open and get my protein fix. So, thanks. I will still go to Sizzler occasionally, by the way.
I'd like to commend the parties involved for bringing this to us. I think $1 million investment is very sizable, and I think it'll look a lot better. I hope you can work with Starwood to improve the lighting. Hopefully they'll listen, but I think the improvements you'll be making will assist with that too, and the materials you've chosen look great, so I look forward to seeing the finished product. Thank you.
Commissioner Redholz.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I too am excited about this. The Silver Dragon has been there for many, many years, and I'm glad to see that there's an involvement with them, with this project. The El Pescador has been doing extremely well there. They replaced the Margarita Jones, which for whatever reasons, I think we might know what they are, but they did not succeed there. And El Pescador has turned that property around and is doing well. And I think that it's really a nice mesh with what you're going to do with what they do. And it's going to draw more people over there. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the architecture, the design, the lighting, the new vibrancy that brings. And West Covina seems to be the go-to place for successful restaurants. You know, the restaurants that have come here in the last 5 to 10 years, they're all in their top, 10. You know, I don't have that exact number, but they've all been extremely successful. The chain restaurants, the smaller restaurants that have come to West Covina, they all do well. So I'm going to welcome you here and look forward to your opening and your success in West Covina. And thank you for coming, and thank you for spending $1 million.
Commissioner Hain?
I'd like to echo my fellow commissioners. I mean, it's great that we have a great restaurant right around the corner, especially Argentina restaurants. I don't think we have one around this city. The last time I've been to one was, I believe, on the west side. So, welcome.
And the gaucho lives. What can I say?
I've been waiting all week to say that.
Yeah, I've been rehearsing that. No, it's going to be great. I look forward to it, and kind of excited because I've never been to an Argentine restaurant. So good luck, and anything we can do to help you, please let us know. We're much in favor of it. So good luck.
Maybe the planning director could take us there for our next holiday dinner.
You didn't say it.
We'll take that under advisement.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll close it. Can we have the resolution numbers, please?
Yes, I want to be clear that we're talking, a bit of an alphabet soup of things going on here on this one. And no, we didn't make up any applications to fill in the blanks here. These are all actual applications. We have a conditional use permit, which has a resolution. That will be 17-5934. And then we have an administrative use permit, which would be 17-5935. The conditions of approval for the administrative review and the administrative use permit are I'm sorry, I've got that backwards. Let me re-clarify. The 17-5935 is for the administrative use permit. The planning director's modification and the administrative review conditions of approval are attached to the staff report and are just approved by motion. So you're only going to act on two resolutions tonight in approving all 4 items. And there was some discussion, I just wanted to remind that it would be on the conditional use permit about the speakers outside. If you wanted to add such a condition, that could be done. But that concludes my comments.
Do I have a motion for 17-5934 and 17-5935?
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Can we have roll call, please?
I would just clarify that is approving all 4 applications, 2 resolutions, all 4 applications.
That's correct.
Roll call, Commissioner Hing? Aye. Commissioner Menez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Aye, passes 5-0. Action is final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. Good luck. Look forward to it.
And the maker of the motion did not modify the conditions.
Okay. Takes us to, what's this one? Oh. Takes us to item number 6, conditional use permit number 17-19, administrative use permit number 17-39, categorical exemption, applicant Gerardo Lemon Jr., location 1220 Inspiration Point, request for a conditional use permit for a large home and an administrative use permit to construct a 650 square foot second-story addition to an existing single-family residence. May we have a staff report, please?
Our Assistant Planner, Christine Delestrinos, will be presenting that report.
Thank you.
Want to bring in the other crowd, the next panel?
Attention, attention.
Baby.
Unfortunately, I'm not speaking of food. I'm just as disappointed. Okay, so let's get this wrapped up.
can waive the presentation if you want.
Okay, good evening again, Chairman and members of the Commission. Tonight I will be presenting to you the applicant's entitlements request for a conditional use permit number 17-19, administrative use permit number 17-39, and subcommittee design review number 17-72 for subject property 1220 Inspiration Point. The subject property is located in South Hills in the hillside topography. It was one of the homes that was built with the Taylor Morrison in 2014 or 2016. It's single-family residential located in Area District 5. It's surrounded primarily of two-story homes, and the current floor area is 5,775 square feet, including a 620 square foot garage, and the property is 19,938 square feet. This project is categorically exempt under CEQA, as the project consists of remodeling of an existing single-family residence on an individual property. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit and an administrative use permit to allow the construction of a rear yard addition on the first and second story of an existing 5,125 square foot home, including the 620 square foot attached 3-car garage. The subject property is 19,938 square feet. The house with the proposed additions will be 5,775 square feet, and the subject property also requires a conditional use permit for the large home due to the fact of the floor area, and an administrative use permit for the second story addition. The subject property is located on Inspiration Point, south of East Hillside Drive, and the proposed addition is in compliance with all zoning requirements. The proposed addition will be 20 feet from the east side property line, 82 feet from the north rear yard property line, and 10 feet from the west side property line. The existing house was built in 2016, as I said, through the Taylor Morrison development. The house currently has 5 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. The first story includes a master retreat with an exclusive bathroom and closet, kitchen, a prep kitchen, a family room, dining room, office, powder room, and a 3-car garage. The second story includes 4 bedrooms with all exclusive bathrooms, a laundry room, and a loft. The proposed additions will include combining 2 bedrooms to make a new master bedroom, adding a new 380 square foot bedroom and bathroom, and adding a new 270 square foot office, all on the second floor. The new master bedroom will have access to the existing 530 square foot balcony that is located at the rear. The house with the proposed additions will have 6 bedrooms, including the proposed office, and 7 bathrooms. The city's municipal code requires a 3-car garage based on the number of bedrooms. The existing home features an existing tandem 3-car garage of 620 square feet. Therefore, it meets that requirement. For lots with a lot area under 20,000 square feet, a maximum allowable unit size is 3,999 square feet, or 35% of the lot area, whichever is less. The subject property is 19,938 square feet. Therefore, the maximum allowable unit size of the property is 3,999 square feet. An administrative use permit is required for the maximum unit size exception, where the proposed addition exceeds the maximum allowable unit size. Furthermore, a conditional use permit is required for a large home when the proposed addition exceeds the maximum allowable unit size of more than 25%, 5,775 square feet in this case. Additionally, an administrative use permit is required for the second story addition. Yes. Staff reviewed the neighborhood surrounding the subject property and found that the area consists of primarily 2-story homes, single-family houses that were constructed in 2014 to present. Staff conducted a survey of 17 homes surrounding the subject property. The houses in the survey are located on the East Hillside Drive, Bentley Court, and Inspiration Point. The surveyed homes consisted of 2-story houses with 3-car garages, similar to the property in question. The following chart shows the mean and median of lot size, square footage of the homes, number of bedrooms, and floor area ratio of the surveyed homes. The mean of the average of all 17 homes and the median is the number that falls directly in the middle of the numbers listed in numerical order. The proposed floor area ratio of the subject property is 29%. The house as proposed would be 1.1 times larger than the average size of the surrounding surveyed homes of 5,277 square feet. Although the proposed house will be 1.1 times larger than the average house size, the house would be about the same size as the largest homes in the neighborhood that are 5,719 square feet. So the following slides are basically the site plan. So here you have the existing site plan. Here you have the existing versus proposed roof plan, and in this roof plan, you get to visually see where the additions will be located. They're circled in red. You'll see that the additions at the rear and then at the sides. There will be a minor bathroom remodel on the first floor. However, that does not call for any entitlements that are being pursued tonight. And here is the floor plan for the second floor of the existing and the proposed. So you see that they are basically filling in those areas that are empty. So there would be an office and a new bedroom. Here's the elevations. They are proposing to be consistent with the existing roof tile, wood fascia, stucco, window trimming, and stucco molding that is currently existing in the home. The proposal includes a 650 square foot second floor addition and a remodeling to the first and second story floors. The house with the proposed additions will be 5,775 square feet, including the 620 square foot garage. The surrounding neighborhood consists of two-story homes, and the proposed size of the home is 1.1 times larger than the average size of the surrounding homes of 5,277 square feet, as well as about the same size as the largest house that was surveyed of 5,719 square feet. The proposed addition will change the mass of the building. The proposed addition does not provide articulation along the south elevation. Actually, it does, but staff recommends that the approval of the proposed additions to incorporate the following details on the east and west elevations, which you have in the conditions that are provided to you in the staff report. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for the house size, administrative use permits for a two-story house, and a maximum unit size exception. That is the conclusion of the staff report. Staff actually recommends to approve the CUP, AUP, and subcommittee design review. If you have any questions, I am here to answer them. Unfortunately, the applicant is probably eating dinner somewhere, so he is not here to answer.
Questions of staff? None? Okay, no public testimony. There's nobody here. So we'll close the public testimony and commission discussion. Anybody wishing to speak? Huh?
Would you like to speak?
Motion to approve? I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
questions
I
for the
have
applicant,
nothing
but
to
he's not
say.
here,
I
so.
mean, I'm okay with this going forward in the location, so I think, yeah, I think we can call for resolution numbers.
Do we have the resolution numbers, please?
Yes, you may. There are two resolutions. There's a conditional use permit, which is 17-5936, and the administrative use permit is 17-5937.
I'll second the motion on the floor.
Do we have a first?
Jose, I think, made a motion.
I motioned, yeah.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Hing? Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos?
Aye.
Chair Holtz?
Aye, passes 5-0. Action is final unless appealed to City Council within 10 days.
I have a new world record for the fastest item approved.
Takes us to non-hearing items, initiation of code amendment accessory dwelling units, review of a proposed code amendment.
Good evening. This is a initiation, accessory dwelling units. We kind of talked about this a little earlier tonight, and you may recall that earlier this year we actually passed a code on it, and that's true. The state has been rapidly passing legislation last year and this year on accessory dwelling units. I think they think it's the way to solve all the housing problems in California. So we see the need to adjust what we approved last year, both in terms of what the state has done and what the state required us to do last year, how it's actually worked in practice. We have some concerns that we need to button some things up. We've given you some idea of those things in the staff report. Minimum lot size, we didn't really address that very well, and we really should have, and we need to. Required parking for an ADU, that's something we need to revise because of the state change the requirements again. And then allowance for approval of existing floor area that is not part of the primary unit or is an accessory building. That's something we need to talk about too. We actually included that in the code, but it's in practicality, I don't think we did a very good job of buttoning that up and what requirements are necessary when you go through that procedure. I know that's all very general and not very specific, and it may leave you with more questions you have the answers. But we will bring back a study session. Hopefully, we will want to move this one as quickly as we can. So if not January, then February, we'd probably have a study session to go over the issues. And we'll be working with the city attorney's office. So right now, all we're asking you to do is initiate a code amendment with the resolution that's attached. And to save time, I'm going to give you let me give you a number, and that would be 17-5938.
I will make a motion.
17-5938.
Second.
So we have
nobody here.
Well, we are recording it. So
That's friends.
we have a motion by Castellanos and a second by Jimenez, and roll call will be Commissioner Hing. Aye. Commissioner Jimenez.
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos.
Aye.
And Chairman Holtz.
Aye, passes 5-0.
And a new record.
Takes us to item number 8. Vacation of Armel Street, consideration of general plan conformity.
Before continuing, Jeff, I noticed a conflict. My daughter attends Trawick Middle School, actually, and it may be best that I just recuse myself. Or is there a concern if I was to proceed with the vacation? I
think at this stage, since we don't have a city attorney to offer advice, it's really up to you. I mean, there's 4 other folks, so it's not like you're going to cause a quorum issue.
Okay. Is there a concern if I recuse, just to be on the safe side? Okay, thank you. I will step outside.
You are going to step out?
I will run.
Don't go to Sizzler. All right, so this is a topic, one of my favorite topics, which is vacation. So we're going to be talking about that, but not my vacation. This is a vacation of Armel Street and the general plan conformity. Covina Valley Unified School District submitted a request to the city of West Covina to vacate a portion of South Armel between West Roland and East Eckerman. So this is the aerial, and just to kind of give you some guidelines here, obviously Covina High School here, this is Trawick Middle School, this is Armel, this is Eckerman, and this is Roland. So Roland is obviously a more well-known street than Eckerman. This red line is actually the jurisdictional boundary between West Covina and Covina. So in effect, Trawick is in West Covina. Covina High School, by its name, is located in Covina. The street is split down the middle, so only the western portion of Armel Street is in the city of West Covina. The east portion is in the city of Covina. As luck would have it, although they may be home by now, the Covina Planning Commission was reviewing this exact same thing tonight at their meeting, which is the conformity of this to the general plan. The school district has given us information that they plan to connect Covina and Trawick with constructing athletic courts and parking areas between the two. So to use that street as a sort of a bridge or a conduit between the two schools. Armel Street is a dedicated and recognized as a public right-of-way in the general plan. Streets don't have general plan designations. They're just recognized as streets, roadways. The neighboring general planned use designation for Trawick is civic, public, and institutional. So this is the subdivision itself, or not the subdivision, the vacation itself. And then in looking at the general plan, we looked at our accessible community, which is the circulation, transportation section of the general plan. And we believe these three actions in the general plan that this proposal, this vacation, is in conformance with these three actions. So we have a resolution, because we're on a roll with resolutions tonight. If you are in agreement that the Planning Commission make a finding that the proposed vacation of Armel Street is in conformance with the general plan. And why don't I, before I stop talking, I will give you the resolution number for that, which would be 17-5939. And that concludes my presentation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for approval.
Oh. Hear me outside. So who gets, is what, the part that's West Covina moving to Covina?
Oh, no. No, the jurisdictional line will not change place. It's a street.
Yeah.
So the west half of the street is in West Covina.
Right.
And we will, and if this all goes forward, we would, not, you aren't doing it, but the city council can vacate the street in favor of the neighboring property owner, which is Covina School District Trawick. Meantime, over in Covina, the eastern section can be vacated by that city and given to the neighboring, the closest property, which is Covina Middle School, in effect eliminating the street and just dedicating that street to those two properties.
Okay, so the street to be eliminated, it's just the property itself would be between the two.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And jurisdictional line would stay in the same place.
Okay, got it, okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion again, yes.
Can I ask, do you know why the school wants to vacate the street?
They would like to build athletic courts and some parking lots.
On the street itself?
Where the street is now located, correct.
So in a way, it's still a street, but it will be a private street among the school.
Well, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to, we don't have the final plan of how they're going to lay it out, so I can't fully answer that. But it won't remain a street, and it'll be private. It could remain a lane or a drive aisle. I think maybe that's what you're referring to, Commissioner Hing. There could be access through there still, especially when the school is open. But after hours, they may lock the gates so you couldn't get in there. But there may still be access to drive in there to park. You are correct in that. But there will not be through, you wouldn't be able to go from Eckerman to Roland.
So by vacating, do we give them to the school district to some extent?
When you vacate the street, you give it to the property owner adjacent. That's what vacation means.
So it won't be a public street that you can just drive in and out because they have control of who gets in there by gating it or whatever.
Right. It would be more akin to driving through the mall, for instance.
Okay, thank you.
What benefit would we have for doing this?
Well, you're sort of asking the wrong guy because our task tonight is to determine if it's conformance with the general plan. I'm not reviewing the vacation itself. So I will give you probably a weak response, but what comes to my mind in my limited knowledge, the street, we have to maintain the street. There's a cost for us maintaining the street. When we grant that property back to the property owner, then that cost goes away. So we don't have the cost for maintaining, we don't have the cost for patrolling it for public safety purposes, speed limits, all that goes away. So there is some cost savings with that. And if it's a street that doesn't serve a lot of purpose, what I mean by that, doesn't have a lot of traffic, then the city may look at that as a good thing. The council will ultimately decide that. Yes, if we vacate, somebody has to take ownership, correct? You have a motion by Commissioner Redholz.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Hing. Commissioner Redholz.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos.
Aye.
Chairman Holtz. Yeah, thank you.
Go to your room. Study session variances from
Gotta bring him back. We gotta bring him in as well.
He's running. The guy's running.
Comes back empty-handed, too, I don't believe. You missed a lot, man.
Commissioner Jimenez has joined us again. Okay. Number 9, study session variances from 2017. I don't know if we want to take the time to do that tonight. It's up to the commission, or we can postpone it to a later meeting. I will leave it up to my fellow commissioners if they want to go through this tonight, or do you have any idea how long it would take, Jeff?
I think it partly depends on how many questions you have, roughly probably 5 to 15 minutes.
I recommend we go ahead with
5
it.
to 15 minutes, you guys go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's proceed then.
Just keep it on the
Review
lower end
variances granted
of that
2017.
range.
All right, so this is a study session just to kind of analyze, end of the year, the last meeting, the last item of the year of 2017. We're going to go out with a bang. I wanted to kind of go over the variances that have been approved over the last year. And so that's what we've done. I've kind of listed those out in the staff report. I think, what did I come up with, 7? So we had a lot width and side setback on East Cameron. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Lot depth on Garvey and Willow, a setback and landscaping variance on West Covina Parkway and Sunset, landscape coverage at an auto dealership on Citrus and East Garvey North, landscape coverage in an M1 zone in the north side of town, building identification signs for office buildings on East Garvey South, and separation buffer for tattooing uses from single-family properties just on Glendora Avenue. So when we look at these things, it's valuable to evaluate the types of variances that have been approved to determine whether consideration should be given to revising the municipal code. So that's the main purpose of this. So a variance is to address an unusual lot shape, topography, or other similar circumstance that creates a hardship on the subject property that does not grant a special privilege. And that's an important thing to keep in mind. You're not supposed to be granting a special privilege that you give this property that nobody else gets. You're supposed to be lifting that property up so it has the same privilege as the other properties. If the Planning Commission would like more detailed information on the variances that I presented, we can obviously do that. Of the 7 variances listed above, the majority may be for development standards that are appropriate in most circumstances, in which case a code amendment would not be warranted. There may be other situations where the variance granted is the norm for that use or that situation, in which case it would be ideal to amend the code to change the standards. So it may be that we have come up with a totally ridiculous thing, but we have a code that says that all 3-bedroom houses are supposed to be brown. And so, but most of the houses are blue. So we're going to grant this guy a variance to be blue even though most of the houses are already blue. Well, wouldn't it be better to change the code to say you can have whatever color you want than to keep granting variances to allow all the houses to be blue and the majority are blue? So that's the question that we bring up. And as staff evaluated these, we think that there are 3 that probably bear some looking into to consider a code amendment. And the 3 that we think are landscape coverage at an auto dealership, and in just my cursory review from aerials of auto dealerships, very few of them comply with the standard that we have in the code. So that's why I think it might behoove us to consider other ways to require landscaping other than 8% total lot. Maybe require a certain amount along the street or as a buffer between properties, but not just 8% total. That seems to work in commercial centers, but it doesn't seem to work when you have an auto dealership who sometimes 2/3 of the lot is behind a gate that nobody ever goes back to. The second one, landscape coverage in the M1 zone. Same thing, we have the same standard. We have the same standard in the M1 zone that we have in the mall. So we want just as much landscaping as we have in the malls as the M1 zone. But if you go to the M1 zone, it's the same thing. Some of them, you don't even get past the front parking lot before you're blocked off. You can't even see what's behind. So it's unlikely they're going to be landscaping stuff for their mechanics or whoever's back there to enjoy the green space. And I don't know, cursory review of that, I don't know if very many, if any, properties in that area meet that standard. So it may behoove us to consider standards that requires landscaping along the front again, or along buffer, or alongside property lines, rather than just an 8%. And then third, the separation buffer for tattooing uses from single-family properties. So if you remember what happened there, we're not suggesting that you allow them to be closer to single-family uses. But in that circumstance, what we had was we had a zone single-family property that was developed as a parking lot for a health center. And because of that, they needed a variance. So maybe we should just take out, it should just say the distance should be to single-family properties that are developed as single-family properties, not properties that are zoned single-family properties. So those are the three that seems to me that our code might be a little bit behind our trends, and so bear some looking into. So I'll open it up now. I'll stop talking and let you ask questions or have some discussion with those. Ultimately, we don't have an initiation before you tonight. We want to hear from you, and we'd bring that back at some time in the future. I think on this one, if we do these ones, or if we do a set, we may try to do them all together instead of separate, because that may allow it to move faster if we can lump them as one, especially if they're fairly simple and straightforward, don't require a lot of code changes. So that concludes my thoughts. I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide any other direction.
Number 6, unless I was asleep, did we approve to allow 3 wall signs on that building?
Yes.
We did?
Yes.
We didn't approve the signs.
You did. You haven't. They haven't. Whose is that? They haven't approved the sign. They haven't submitted the sign. They haven't submitted the sign criteria yet. We're still waiting for them to submit. But you're correct. You approved the variance to allow 3 wall signs, but you have not approved the sign criteria to allow the signs to be installed.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Jeff, what's your backlog right now for potential code amendments?
We do have a backlog. That's a good question. I didn't, as you're aware, we just initiated an ADU one, which is going to be pretty important for us to get to. We are also very, we want to get to the which you just initiated last time, the downtown plan. Those are going to be 2 that are very highly important. We also have a temporary sign one that was done because of the Gilbert lawsuit or the court decision. That will be hopefully coming back the first meeting you guys have in January. So it's going to be a little bit of a backlog. These are probably not going to be high priority items. And so they could get pushed down a little bit in maybe mid-year or even late year before we get to them. And I appreciate that, although I do think it's good to have them on the books, even they do get pushed down. I mean, to be frank, the entitlement processing one we've been working on since 2014, and we're getting close to getting it done, but by the time we get that done, it's going to be about 4 years.
I guess my only thought would be is to maybe play it out another year to see if we see a reproduction of these requests and maybe make the decision, at least in my opinion, to possibly help more than anything with your backlog and not necessarily keep tacking on modifications. One of them sounds like it's more of a correction. So maybe it's part of a package, code amendment or series of amendments. Maybe that one could be lumped in. But at least from my chair, it appears that we have a few other code amendments that maybe take priority, and I would like to see maybe another year worth of analysis. Again, mainly to maybe help you guys out.
Okay. I agree with Commissioner Jimenez.
I'm okay.
Actually made a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. That was what I was going to ask as well. But without the added recommendation of waiting another year, that's a great idea.
Okay. Well, if everybody's good with that, we can schedule it to come back late next year, and like what I think you're suggesting is at the same time we bring this back, we review whatever variances are approved between now and then, and perhaps see if it's the same type of things or if there's additional things. And I think that the entitlement subdivision is one we did lump a lot of things together, and maybe that's one of the mistakes we've made. I mean, it's kind of a really question about how you do those things. Because you combine a bunch into one, then people get confused about what got approved and when, and are they really focused on it? But if you do one at a time, it takes a long time to go through code amendments because there's a notification for each one. So, so we will do that. We appreciate the input. No, I don't think we need a motion. It was more, if that's the consensus of the commission, we're fine to abide by that.
Okay. Continuation of oral communications. Would you like to say anything, young lady? Okay. Takes us to commission reports, comments, and miscellaneous items. Commissioner Riddle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir. First off, go by one of my favorite places, Riro's, and there's actually some activity going on over there. Actually, humans appear to be toiling inside and out, and they've actually changed the sign. It now says job fair. So apparently they've taken a leap, and they're going to actually start interviewing and taking applications, and perhaps in anticipation of one day actually opening. So this would be very, very good. This would be good because, you know, the other businesses have come along and went right by them. And since this is our last meeting of the year, tonight's the first night of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. From your West Covina Planning Commission, or at least me.
Can somebody refresh my memory? What construction is going in on the corner on the southwest corner of Cortez and Barranca? They're bulldozing there. It must.
That's the subdivision that we approved maybe like 2 months ago, and it was 2 new homes.
Not that one,
No,
the
no.
other corner.
No, the other corner. Oh, that's
Is that the vacant one?
southwest corner.
Adjacent
West.
to South Hills High School, I think. Is
That's a new home, 2928 Cortez. They are, what? Yeah, it's one house. They're in the process of getting their landscape plans approved. And then they should be good to go on building the home.
Or anything, has it?
No, it was an administrative use permit, so it went out for the public notice.
Okay. I just went by it today and they're bulldozing it. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
Well,
I don't know off the top of my head, I'm sorry. It's a 2-story home.
Commissioner Hang, back to something we discussed earlier, especially since we were pushing the variance analysis or back another year. Did you want to initiate anything with regards to cell towers, which we could also make low priority, but back to that point we were discussing about, is there anything we could do to require cell carriers to give us more data on that?
I think what you had a suggestion when we were talking about that earlier tonight to have a study session. I think that's probably a good idea. It would be, you know, there are certain subjects that are fraught with legal issues, and this is one. This is not a simple issue. It seems simple in some cases, but it's not. And there's a push-pull going on with legislators in both the state and federal those of you who have been in this, doing this for a while, realize that they've taken powers away from cities and other jurisdictions and given them to the carriers. So what we could do 5 years ago is not the same thing. What we'll be able to do 5 years from now is probably less than we can do now. So there is some truth to some of the things that Commissioner Hing is saying, but there also is truth that we have to be careful. We can't just deny all of them. If we deny all of them, we'll also get sued.
Well,
so
we're not.
Let's not have a discussion now. I'm just pointing out that it's fraught with things. So we'll schedule a study session when I can get the city attorney who specializes in this to discuss this, because I have a feeling it'll be a long discussion. So I think that's probably the wisest move. That will educate you on what you can and can't do and what you can ask for. And we can also educate you on some things that we have found over the past year.
Perfect. I would appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff.
Anyone else?
Well, thank you for initiating that, because I frankly don't really know what to do. It's not like we just don't want to approve them, but I need some information and data, basically to go by to see what's good also for the community. And keep in mind, we're not just approving for a one-day event. This can last 20, 30 years or forever. So that's my concern, and thank you very much for bringing it up so that we can have some type of study, because I really don't have.
Yeah, I think that'll be helpful for sure. That'll,
Okay.
all the issues and bullet points that, hopefully on a day that's a light agenda. 'Cause
Yes, I think.
Planning Director's report, please.
Happy New Year. I also wanted to let you know that I think many of you, or all of you, had seen Alan Hernandez, who's our planning intern. He presented here several times. Alan was able to get a real job, and he's moved away from us. I think we really relied on him a lot. He was very good at the counter and learned a lot, and we helped us a lot over the year. But his last day was last Thursday? Yeah, so he's off to better, greater and better things. So we wish Alan well. I do want to appreciate all the work you guys have done over the past year. We've got another year coming up that will be equally busy probably. I don't really have any reports on things for council action, although that's not even where we're at, is it, Chairman? Forthcoming, we don't have any, we're not going to have a meeting on December 26th. I know that's kind of going to be heartbreaking to some of you, but if you want to gather in the parking lot, then, you feel free to do it. It'll be open.
How about January 9th?
You can't talk about anything, yeah. You can talk about the football games or whatever.
January 9th meeting?
February 9th.
No, January.
I'm sorry, January 9th, February 9th. We probably will not have a meeting that night. We don't have anything scheduled right now. We're still taking stock, but we wanted to see if there was anything continued tonight. But everything got approved tonight, so it's unlikely to be a meeting on January 9th. So the next meeting is likely going to be January 23rd.
Okay.
Subcommittees, people don't go too far, though.
Anyone else have anything?
Happy holiday, guys.
Yeah, I just want to thank the staff for all their help this year and wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So thanks for everything.
And to Lydia over here in the back. So. Thank you for all your hard work and packets. Thanks.
Meeting's adjourned.